Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the main event for UFC 249, Khabib versus Ferguson. So in this event right here, we have the highly anticipated fight between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson. So this fight's been, in the works for a long period of time. It's been made several times, and it's been scheduled so many times, like 3-4 times, and has fell through every single time. I think even one time it felt like pretty much it was the last time, like the night before they already had the weigh-ins, and then it fell through. So it was like very, very wonky. So stuff be happening like that with this fight. And now we had this fight scheduled again. It was coming close, and then coronavirus. So this fight may or may not happen, but Dana White says 99.9% sure that he has a location for this fight. It'll be close to the public. So it's looking like we'll still have this fight, and hopefully we do. And if any fight should happen, regardless of a pandemic, it should be this fight, because if we don't get it now, we might not ever get it. And it's only going to get maybe not less valuable as it goes on. I think Ferguson was like 35, 36. You don't want Ferguson to be 40 by the time he fight Khabib, or Khabib to retire or something like that in the next couple years. So this fight has to happen now, regardless of what's going on. Unless it was just World War III or something and everybody was involved or something. But as far as pandemic, just keep it off to the public, and we got to get this fight on. So now onto the prediction right here. So you got pretty much 1A and 1B in this fight. You got the undisputed lightweight champion in Khabib, and you got the former interim champion in Tony Ferguson. So it's like 1A, 1B. Both guys are on like 15, 16 fight winning streaks inside the UFC's lightweight division. Both guys have been seemingly unbeatable. Ferguson has a couple losses. Khabib is undefeated, but seemingly unbeatable. They definitely, as all fighters have, they all can lose. Nobody is unbeatable. Nobody is perfect. They all have flaws, for sure. And no matter what anybody thinks about these guys, they both can definitely lose. He might say, oh, Khabib is a perfect fighter. He's definitely not. He has flaws. Ferguson obviously has flaws, but they both can lose. And Ferguson has flaws. But yeah, still a very solid fight. Not trying to knock these guys down. I'm just trying to say the truth, that the fight game is the fight game. And no matter how, when you ever think somebody's undefeatable, life shows you that they aren't. So just putting that note out there. So how do these guys match up? You got Khabib, who's obviously like more of a grappler than a striker. He's more of a sambo practitioner, but he kind of had a lot of wrestling techniques and good control and good takedowns, good singles. Striking okay, definitely got respected, but not, obviously people don't respect it that much. They respect it as much as they should, but it's not really what people are worried about with him. So he's more of a grappler than a striker, but he is an MMA fighter. Tony Ferguson, I see him more of a grappler, but Tony Ferguson is dangerous in every area. And you got to worry about every single area with Ferguson. You can't go out there and say, oh, all I got to do is worry about his grappling. Now you got to worry about every single thing about him. He threatens you in every single aspect of the game in every single fight. His takedowns aren't the best. His takedown defense isn't the best, even though it's probably like 70 or 69 and looks, on paper, looks solid. But every time he goes against a solid wrestler or grappler, or a solid wrestler, he gives up a good amount of takedown. Like Kevin Lee was taking him down at will. Danny Castillo took him down pretty well. I think even Trujillo got like 2 takedowns on him. And I don't really rate Trujillo's wrestling all that high. So and most people he fight really aren't wrestlers, so that's why his takedown defense is where it's at. But that's what that is. So I feel like Khabib shouldn't have too much issue taking him down. It's more so how he deals with his jiu-jitsu, how he deals with his work rate, and how he deals with his scramble ability and stuff like that. And it's how he deals with just how unorthodox Ferguson is. But as far as taking him down, I think it's that big of an issue for Khabib to take Ferguson down. Probably not even that big of an issue for him to really control Ferguson, but that's for a later note in the video. But I'm gonna start off by how I see each guy winning this fight if they do win, and then I'm gonna get into how I see this fight actually going. So I'm gonna start with Ferguson, the challenger. So I see this fight for Ferguson. If he needs to win, he just needs to be Ferguson. He needs to be out there active. Really, that's a big factor of being active. Khabib is so used to going out there and being able to dictate the whole fight. And pretty much, like, he takes off rounds when he wants to take off rounds because he knows he can win the rest of them. Like, he'll win the first 2, dominate. Then on 3rd round, he might not even go for a takedown, just coax that round. Then the 4th and 5th, he'll go back to just dominate. I think he did it against Conor McGregor. He did it against what's his name? Ali Quinta, and maybe many more. But he gives a round because he's just so much in control that he can afford to give up rounds, or at least not have to take people down a round or spend time around because he's already got it controlled. He's already so comfortable in the fight that He knows he can put him down whenever he feels like that. Maybe he can conserve his energy a little bit and then go back. Ferguson can't allow that. Ferguson got to make this man work the whole time, never make this man comfortable. Keep a jab in the face, keep something in his face, and not really be worried about the takedowns, which he won't. He got to respect the takedowns, but don't be out there like this going loosey-goosey and just throwing spinning stuff and just throwing big overhands or big loopy punches that Khabib could duck under and get takedowns or get singles. Well, that's still takedowns. But like I said, work rate, but be smart, be technical. I think Ferguson's always gonna be unorthodox and still gonna be kind of sloppy out there a little bit, but don't give it those takedowns. So be active. Make Khabib have to work for every shot. Threaten with that when he goes for those low singles. Threaten with a front choke like John Jones does, or that high elbow guillotine that John Jones does when people go for singles on him, and then be able to wrench them off your leg or make them have to defend the choke by releasing the takedown or releasing their hands off the leg to defend the takedown, so that Khabib can't constantly go for these takedowns and work for them. And I think early on he shouldn't try to go for the home run like somebody goes for it, like Khabib goes for a low single and you get the choke in there pretty well. Don't go for the finish. But Tony Ferguson is a high level BJJ fighter, so I think he'll know if he really had the choke in there. But still, I say he kind of avoid going for the choke all the way early on because it's a 5-round fight. Just threaten with it, make him have to release those hands off your leg, make him have to stand back up, and then keep popping the jab, keep making him work, keep backing him up, attack him high, attack him low, really attack the body. He doesn't get attacked the body very well. I mean, very often, and nor very well. It doesn't get attacked the body very often, nor very well. So you got a guy that's a wrestler trying to go for these takedowns. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you the blueprint to beating these wrestlers. One is putting them on the back foot. One is being able to shut down a takedown, whether it be with a submission attempt or good active sprawls, good hips, good movement. Either way, demoralize them by defending the takedowns, attack the body. Like they're a guy people that need those gas tanks to be able to wrestle you and lay on you the whole time. You can stop them, like really neutralize them from getting these takedowns or making their takedowns ineffective and then beat their body up. They need cardio heavily, so you could cardio them, and you can pretty much beat the air out the bag and make them less confident on their shots. Then you really got a guy that's a one-dimensional fighter on the feet with nothing there. But a lot of people don't really do that against Khabib. They go out there and allow him to be the guy on the front foot for whatever reason. Even though striking isn't the best, even though he's not really the most reactive fighter, he's a forward pressing fighter that can go for low singles and really just enforce himself on you. But if you push him back, he's not as much of an enforcer. But not a lot of people, I haven't seen anybody do that. I've seen Conor McGregor do that in the first round and third round. But really, once Khabib started getting taken down, those people start backing up, be so worried about getting taken down that they put themselves in position to get taken down. Khabib is far more effective at taking you down when you're backing up than when you're pressing him forward and keeping him at the end of your punches. But people don't do that. And if they did that, they'd be a lot more effective against him. The only reason he's so undefeatable is because you're so worried about his takedown. As crazy as that sounds, it's reality. You're more scared of somebody's ability, or you're afraid of something. You make something more powerful than what it is. You're so afraid of getting taken down, you start backing up, you start panicking, you start stiffening up. You make them more dangerous, like people were against John Jones. If you're so worried about what John Jones is going to throw at you, he's going to throw the whole kitchen sink at you. But if you're moving, you're fighting your game, he's not going to be as effective as he is if you're just blocking or just looking at him and not doing it. Same way with Khabib. And Khabib has way less tools. But yeah, besides the point. So Ferguson, keep active, push him on the back foot. Defend the takedown either with a sprawls, movement, or a choke or a submission attempt that will get you back. If you're not submission attempt, that will end up with you on your back, but submission attempt that will end up with you in an advantageous position, whether you get this choke or not, if you have that much luck. But he still should, when the takedowns Khabib shoots those low singles, you should be able to get an advantageous position. It's not like he's shooting no big, scoop you off the ground and slam you takedowns most times. Nowadays, it's just low singles. So you should be able to get into a sprawl position, or you should be able to get into a front headlock, or you should be maybe even take his back probably a little bit questionable because Khabib's high level wrestler. I don't think he'll ever really give up his back, especially not early. Maybe when you wear him down, but yeah. So yeah, this really make him work. The recipe for Ferguson is to make him work, not allow him to get into his comfort zone, and again, make him work high low, attack all areas. Maybe not the leg as much. Maybe mix that in a little bit, could be effective. Maybe take away some of those wheels. Maybe take a little bit of that leg strength. And I feel like if Ferguson is able to neutralize the takedown significantly or enough, I'm not even saying he had to defend 100% takedown. I'm not saying he had to defend 75%, but if he's even able to defend 50% of the takedown and able to be effective on his back, or at least keep maybe those first or even 2 or 250, at least 2 minutes of the round on the feet throughout the fight, and making Khabib work all 5 minutes of each round, then he has a very good shot. Ferguson has the cardio to make Khabib work all 25 minutes of this fight. And I feel like he's able to do that. I feel like he'll be able to kind of demoralize Khabib because he's not gonna have that same, comfortable fights he usually used to having. And I feel like he'd be able to, really start pressuring him and start mixing him up. You know how Ferguson gets when he starts having you, when he starts to see you get tired. Ferguson really turns it up. And I would feel like when he start turning up on Khabib gonna start to duck that neck, start to shoot sloppier shots. And I feel like he'll be perfectly open for a front headlock, maybe get caught in the anaconda, maybe get caught in the guillotine, maybe get caught in the darts. But some neck choke, I feel like he'll be able to get caught in. Well, aren't all chokes neck choke, whatever case. He'll be able to get caught in the choke when he starts shooting those shots, get busted up. And in the fourth round, I feel like if Ferguson is to win, it'll be in the fourth round, and it'll be by a front choke type or a choke. Yeah. So that's Ferguson's path. Khabib's path is really just to be Khabib. Go out there and be smart. I seen the blueprint to beat, or I seen weakness in Ferguson's game against Kevin Lee and Castillo. Castillo fight, he tried to go for a lot of submissions that he couldn't get, and he ended up on his back, not really getting any submissions, and it spent like the majority of the fight on his back. And then Kevin Lee fight, Kevin Lee was able to just manhandle him and throw him around for the most part, but Kevin Lee was too comfortable in the guard or too fatigued in the guard and was resting it a lot. And Khabib does not rest in the guard. He's not going to be on there just putting his chin in your chest and just throwing low body shots. He's going to be up postured, controlling your legs, punching the body, punching the face. Be probably trying to look for like a half guard or back control. Not really resting in the guard, like resting in no full guard. And I feel like that's his best path. Just do what he does. Ferguson will come out there and be sloppy a lot of times. He's going to be a little bit unorthodox here and there, which allows him to get caught. As you've seen in the Pettis fight, as you've seen in the Venata fight, as you've seen in this fight and that fight, he gets caught. Is in the Trujillo fight, he kind of drops his hands down, his hand get low. You catch him around the side with a check hook and drop him. Or when he's on these loopy shots, he kind of runs in over his punches. You could go and duck for a double, or you can maybe get a single. Really, the best chance to go for singles, because if you get a single, his guillotine won't be as effective. You could probably pass the leg over to the side, and then his guillotine is neutralized. I know Ferguson like to try to roll or try to regain guard, but with how heavy Khabib's pressure is, he just lowers his body enough and just really shuts off that angle to get to a full guard or even get a true half guard. I think he's good. I don't think Ferguson will be able to submit him from a single. I'm messing with the jiu-jitsu terminology, but with a one leg locked in, like we got both legs locked around one leg, not have no full guard, but like the half guard guillotine not gonna really work on Khabib. I don't think he has a shot, but I think Khabib was too strong, too savvy in those positions to get out of that. Yeah, so really got to see as far as Khabib strategies to be Khabib, be smart out there, don't rush anything. When when Ferguson makes his unorthodox strategy, his stuff and get a little bit sloppy, just take advantage of it. You can kick his legs out because he squares up a lot when he's trying to rush in, and that'll get him on the ground and go from control. Catch him with a check hook, maybe that will drop him. He has been dropped pretty much every single time he gets caught with a check hook, he gets dropped. So I don't see Khabib necessarily having the worst chance of catching with that and dropping him. I'm not saying it'll finish him, but it'll put him on the ground where Khabib wants him. And like I said, he could duck under and get takedowns as well off that sloppy stuff. But really, don't allow himself to get pushed back too much. Keep himself either kind of neutral as far as standing or him being the one pushing for it. If he's pushing back, then getting pushed back, then Khabib is really out of his element, because going back, Khabib isn't ineffective. He'll shoot like shots from like a mile away and won't get them. Even Michael Johnson defends shots. Conor McGregor had a good chance to defend the shot, but he went for a flying knee instead. But when Khabib's getting pushed back, his takedown accuracy is real poor, and real poor in general, technique poor and all that stuff. He'll shoot from far out. He doesn't judge the distance very well when he's getting pushed back. But when he's going forward, he's solid with his shot, his takedown. So don't allow yourself to be on his back foot too much. Keep the fight either neutral or him pushing forward. Really should be pushing forward most of this fight. Allow Ferguson to throw all that wild stuff he throws and just ducking under, like dodging it, avoiding it, then duck under, get a shot. And go for it. Like I said, half guard. Half guard's a very controlled position, like the old school Randy Couture, half guard. Get a control of a leg, have a limb that you control, and use it like a seat belt, and just beat him up from that position. Or like I said, get the back control, tight waist, and beat on Ferguson from these positions. Never allow him to get like no full guard or no front headlock positions too much. Just be smart with the shot selection and really just take advantage of the mistakes Ferguson makes and fight a clean fight. And I see if he does that, he'll win a decision. So how I see this fight going, I see it going Khabib's way. I see Khabib fighting a smart fight, taking advantage of Ferguson's flaws. Ferguson come out to be active. He's certainly going to make it a fight. He's certainly going to make Khabib work the whole time. But I see like Khabib just put in these positions where Ferguson can't necessarily be as dangerous or as effective. Like Ferguson will have his chance on the feet. He will have opportunities on the feet. But I feel like There'll still be like much like with any other fighter, few and far in between. But I feel like Ferguson will at least not be a guy that's gonna get crumpled up on the ground. He's gonna be working the whole time. But I feel like Khabib's gonna be able to jump to these more control type positions, control them, not necessarily try to go for the finish per se, except certain times we feel like Ferguson's kind of lagging at times. He'll be able to try to jump on stuff. But I feel like Ferguson's gonna react quickly and go back to attacking. He's not gonna be one of those guys who's gonna be resting on the ground. But I feel like still, even though he's not resting, he's not out there just being a sit and duck like a lot of these other fighters on the ground. I feel like Khabib's still been on top, still been in these controlling positions, still landing the harder shots from the top. Is going to be the one winning on the judge's scorecard and getting these takedowns, getting it, like I said, the control time. It's not going to be necessarily a fight that's just like, oh, he just mauled him. It's going to be a fight like he's in good top control. He's controlling. Ferguson's going to be trying to, try to go for these wild submission attempts or maybe try to go for these risky takedown. I mean, these risky submission attempts or risky transitions. Maybe have a little bit of success, but like nothing sustained or nothing that's effective on the scorecard for the judges to say, oh, he did something that round. But I still feel like Khabib probably gonna take off one round, like a third, like he usually does. But even still, I don't think Ferguson necessarily just takes over at that point. I just feel like Khabib just controls him, like gives him a round, maybe two. But how I really see this fight is going is a 49-46 scorecard for Khabib. But yes, takedowns, control, taking advantage of the mistakes that Ferguson often makes in fights. And it's been clean out there. Khabib is a fighter that fights to win, not necessarily to dominate. If the domination is there, he'll take it. But more so, Khabib, the reason why he's undefeated and why he is who he is because he's a fighter that values position and control over the finish. He's not gonna go out there and try, oh, I see a guy hurt or I see a guy on the ground, I'm gonna go try to jump to his back and choke him out. I'm gonna try to just maul him and just keep doing punches before effort. He's probably gonna do like 50% or less in his strikes. It is more so control you, move you into his punches, or move you to where he wants to move you. In this fight, pretty much to try to break you down. Really, he's not gonna put you out of there unless you put yourself out of there. When you start to wilt and not be there as much, then he'll go for the finish. So against Ferguson, I only see him put himself in positions to really get submitted or really give up his control. I still see him having a lot of control in this fight. Like I said, Ferguson's gonna be active, but that activity is not gonna be enough. But that's not really what I see it. I just feel like control and dominance, or at least control and positioning of Khabib is gonna overshadow the activity and attack of Ferguson off his back because he's not gonna really have as much success with it, which means it's not gonna really be scoring on the judge's scorecard. And this is not jiu-jitsu, so Khabib having the top position, landing these big strikes from the top every now and then, is being consistent, is going to allow him to win the fight. And like there will be times on the feet, but I feel like it's not going to be that many times on the feet. It's not going to be a large portion of the fight where they strike. It's probably be overall maybe like 3-4 minutes of real striking over the course of 25 minutes. Whereas most of the fight going to probably take position in the clinch or on the ground. And in those positions, Khabib's going to have the dominant position, so he's going to win the decision. So in this fight, I have Khabib Nurmagomedov via decision. And that concludes my fight prediction for the main event of UFC 249, Khabib versus Ferguson. And as always, thanks for watching.